Please unmute, sir. Please unmute. Sorry.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Anup Bhatnagar here, and I welcome you all to the session of UDAAN, Journey Towards Success. And now we will be taking the session along. Unfortunately, ये हमने जो program बनाया था, we made it for the students. But unfortunately, what happened is we could get all the learned people here in this session. So it's good that at least these session, whatever they learn, it can be passed on to their children and they'll be able to learn something out of it. So we'll start one of the session which has been quite important because whatever we've been doing for the past 2.5 days, it is the same as sorry, communication. So everybody is able to see the screen, please?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, make it full screen, sir. Click F5, sir. F5.
Okay, is everybody there?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, good. Now, before I start up, I just want to request everybody. I'll be going through the session. You can ask me question, you can interrupt me in between, ask questions, or we can have the question answer session in the end of the program. And please be interactive. Whatever I'm talking is about communication skills, and you have to be interactive. If you don't interact, I mean, the communication doesn't go. So the communication has to be one-to-one, one-to-many. Okay, so now the tagline which I wrote is a must skill for everyone. Now we have people, anybody from Mumbai or anybody from Maharashtra?
Yes, yes.
आकाश सर, जब कुछ वहां पर अच्छी चीज होती है तो वहां पर बॉम्बे में क्या बोलते हैं?
एक नंबर।
बढ़िया, एक नंबर।
एक नंबर। और अगर चाय बहुत बढ़िया बनी होती है तो क्या बोलते हैं?
क्या चाय बनाई है, एक नंबर।
क्या मस्त चाय बनाई है, क्या मस्त चीज है।
Yes.
Now this is which is normally spoken. और जगह जाएंगे आप, दिल्ली में जाएंगे, बढ़िया है, बहुत अच्छी है, but बॉम्बे में they use the must, and that must is that it is a must skill for everyone. Everyone has to be good in communication skills. So as far as my introduction is concerned, I'm known by AK-56. Now, why I call myself as AK-56? My full name is Anup Kishore Bhatnagar, and I'm born in the year 1956. So I call myself as AK-56. Now, as far as my background is concerned, I'm basically from the aviation background, presently working as a freelance aviation instructor. I'm also conducting the soft skill training, and one of the soft skill training is with you. I'm also a graphologist where I can analyze your handwriting and your signatures and tell you the traits, that whatever you have the traits, and really you can really improve upon them through the handwriting only. That's the thing which is done by a graphologist. Now, to the topics we'll be covering is would be the communication skills, verbal and non-verbal communication, listening skills, barrier to communication, and rules for overcoming the barrier. Now, these are the topics which we'll be covering. There are so many topics, others also, which has to be like email writing, report writing. That will be taken care by one of the learner trainers tomorrow. So, but I'll be covering these topics, and each topic have a separate session. If you see, communication is a separate session. Non-verbal communication is altogether a separate session. Body language is altogether a separate session. Listening skills is also a separate session. So I've all combined together to make it adjust within, I can cover up within a stipulated time. Okay. Now here we'll be talking about different listening skills, communication skills. A small slide. We have been communicating right from our childhood. If you see, a small child is talking to her mother. He or she cannot speak, but through her body language or through his body language is conveying the message that yes, what he wants or whatever reply he wants to convey to the mother. Gradually we grown up and we became child and we interact with our friends, relatives. Further, we become teenagers. Now teenagers also, they interact, they communicate, and finally we become old. And even the older people do communicate. At times it happens they don't have the ability to communicate. They do it by the hand gesture or they use the sign language. You might have seen that the people who are physically disabled, unable to speak, unable to hear, they even communicate. And they communicate much better what we actually speak. They communicate their things through the hand gestures, whatever they want to communicate, and they communicate. Anybody wants to add something to it, please?
I think, sir, teenagers' communication is very much like it becomes very minimal. They don't like even talking. So they just either yes or no. So it becomes very minimal, but it is very difficult to understand.
Ma'am, it is the only thing is, you rightly said, the teenagers doesn't communicate much because they think whatever we say it's right. They don't want to listen to it. So you got to ask them the open-ended questions. If you ask them close-ended questions, then only answer is yes or no. हाँ ना में ही जवाब देंगे, इससे ज़्यादा जवाब नहीं देंगे. But if you ask them a questions which is an open-ended question, they might have to elaborate that thing. And once they have to elaborate, they'll be able to give you a better answer. But at times what happens is they don't want to elaborate because you'll pick up another question from their answer. At times it happens. So
Yes,
they
sir,
don't,
they don't elaborate. They just maybe try to finish it in one sentence itself.
right.
However open-ended it is.
So they don't want to give you a handle to ask another question from their answers. But if you are friendly with them, then they might come out with the answers. Right? This is a problem with the teenager. Yes, I can understand. Right from 13 to 19, it's a problem. They don't communicate. Now, basically, what we wanted is that the communication skills is basically for the career. Now, whoever wants to build up the career, today we have all the adult people with us, all learned people with us. But the only thing is, they can pass on this message to their children. Maybe some people have their grandchildren also. So, first of all is they should develop the listening skills. If they develop the listening skills, it will be a very unique thing with them that they'll be able to listen to things. Secondly, is the friendly. They should be friendly. They should be open-minded. They should be able to listen to the ideas. Now, during my training programs, when I used to teach something to the people, I used to have an open-minded, and you don't think that the ideas only come from the higher level. Even the ideas used to come from the junior level also. So we used to listen to them with an open mind and then try to implement those things. Feedback. Feedback is very important. Now, what happens is when we take the suggestions, when we give the sessions, we ask the feedback. There could be, mostly we have a positive feedback, but there could be negative feedback also. So whenever there's a negative feedback, take it as it comes. Don't think कि यार उसने नेगेटिव फीडबैक दिया है, मैं कल उसको देखता हूँ कैसे नौकरी करता है. No. Take it in a right perspective and try to learn the things that why he has given a negative feedback. Okay. The most important is developing a confidence. If you develop a confidence in the child, that confidence goes with the lifelong. But if he doesn't have a confidence, then there are chances that these things pile up from years together. And what happens is a stage will come, they might lose the confidence already. So it is very important that the child should develop or make them so friendly that they should develop a confidence. And another is non-verbal communication. Communicate with them, because some normal non-verbal communication also. Sorry, ma'am, I just want to ask you a small question from you. If your child comes back from the school or from the college and he looks a little bit disturbed, do you think you're going to ask questions from him or her?
Yes, I would. I would ask like what happened, why you are upset.
Right, right. Now, if you tell, you have to first of all calm down him or her, because he's already been in stress. There could be a stress from the college that the teacher might not be happy, might have given him a little bit of scolding, which he never did it. And it's better to just calm him or her down. Okay, please sit down. What would you like to have? Would like to have a drink, or would like to have a coffee or anything? Just calm him or her down and then start asking questions. Okay, what made you so unhappy or why you're worried. So in this way, you'll be able to get the correct answer and give them the advice that whatever you have done should not be repeated again. Right? Anybody wants to add something to it in terms of the skills for your career?
So Manohar has written in chat that yes, like we have to pamper the child and make him have some snacks, and then we can talk to him.
That's very good. That's very good. I mean, you really have this. You can just tell them, okay, I think you feel hungry today, or you feel so. Please have some snacks, and then we can talk it over. That what's the problem and how together we can solve it. This is the way how this is to be done. Okay, so can we move forward?
Yes, sir. Yes.
I think the screen has freezed. Just a moment.
Maybe sir, you can stop sharing and then share once again. It will help.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for the. Now, good communication skills are the key to success. That is very important. That when we communicate, so it's a key to the success. Communication किसी तरह का भी हो सकता है, किसी के साथ भी हो सकता है. It could be communication between the internal customer and the external customer. Now, the people, anybody from who's worked with the corporates or any of the companies. Now, what is the difference between an internal customer and an external customer? Can anybody would like to elaborate?
So should I say?
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay. External customers are the people with whom we deal outside. Like they come to us for services.
Right.
And internal customers are our own office colleagues or the people we work with whom also we have to do some services. Like
beautiful. Awesome. Very true.
Thank you, sir.
Because now, when we work in an environment, we have internal customers. Internal customers, that means we have our own colleagues within our department. Now, within the organization, there could be 11, 12 departments. We have to deal with those departments also, and they are all our internal customers. That means it is within the organization, but could be different department or different sections. But there are certain departments where they have the public dealings. All the department doesn't have a public dealings. Only few of the departments have a public dealing. Now, in those cases, what happens is they have to deal with the external customers. Now, the dealing is quite different with the internal customer and the internal customer. In both the cases, you have to help them. But how you help them, it's your the way how you are going to help. Now we come to the communication skills. Communication is your door to success. As we have already learned, it's your door to success. How well you communicate, the same thing is, it will be your success. Effective communication is rarely taught and even more rarely learned. But आज की डेट में हम लोग सॉफ्ट स्किल्स के बारे में बात करते हैं, but it's no longer a soft skill now. It's a core skill. Everybody has to learn about the body language, the non-verbal communication, the communication, report writing, email writing, everything. Now this has become a core skill. Everybody must know about all these core skills. And effective communication is rarely taught. Do we have any school teacher here or a college teacher here with us? Or they have taught in a school, or maybe at any point of time they have.
I've taught. I've
Okay.
taught in schools.
Well, tell me frankly, is effective communication ever taught in schools, or it is learned in the school or a college?
Not as a subject.
Not as a subject. Very
Now
good.
it is
Very good.
included in a subject said personality development.
Yes.
So they include in that personality development, the communication skill is a very important part.
Very good. Very good. But, ma'am, this is a skill which cannot be learned overnight. It takes years together. We have a lot of trainers here, all learned trainers here. Everybody must have learned many things, many skills for a few years to reach this platform. So it's not that easy. It will take some time. Okay. Might be we might not see them, but the day will come that yes, everyone will be able to communicate effectively. Even people who do not possess the ability to speak can wonderful communicator. As we talk about the people from the disability, that they do not have the ability to speak, but even they are wonderful communicators.
Yes, they communicate with their expressions.
Very good, very good, very good. And at times they have a sign language. Like I'll give you a small example. When I was in aviation industry, so during the winter time, suppose we want to have a coffee, and there's no time for us to go to the cafeteria to go have a coffee or a tea, and then we have to request the flight person who was there on the aircraft to make a coffee or tea. So what we used to do is, suppose we want tea, so we used to make this sign that we wanted this. That means we wanted tea. If you want coffee, we used to say this. Okay, this is so at times this happens is that these kind of gestures become so common that it could be understood by everybody.
One thing I would like to add this point,
Please,
that
please.
on the television Doordarshan channel, every Sunday at 1 o'clock, there is a news reader who is disabled person who is use this sign language for all the news reading.
Very
all-
true.
Yes.
Ma'am, if you scroll the different channels, even the English channels and the other news channels, if you scroll those, there's a particular slot has been given where all the day's news are spoken, and on the other hand, there is the panel screen goes on where the person can communicate with the body language, and they are able to save the message to the people who cannot hear or who cannot speak. That's right. I mean, you have seen that channel, the Doordarshan. Yes, they also have this kind. Now, what about the communication skills? Interpersonal communication is the exchange of any information between the people. Now, when we communicate, we exchange the information. And how we exchange the information? The primary communication skill, if you see, it's a primary skill, informing skills. Now you've got to inform your thoughts, the ability to articulate, express ideas and thoughts as a sender. you want to inform something. It could be one-to-one, it could be one-to-many. And you want to articulate, express your ideas or thoughts. That means your informing skills. That means you should be able to inform them. If you do not send a word properly, I'm talking about the verbal communication, I'm not talking about the written communication. If you have to inform your ideas and thoughts, it should be very clear to the other person that any question should not bounce back. Right? It happens many a times that we get a message. Okay, वहां पर एक जगह दिल्ली में एक जगह बॉब रखा हुआ है. Now these kind of ideas, I mean, it is a very vague message. No time has been given, no place has been mentioned, no area has been mentioned. So it's very difficult to find it out that where exactly is the explosive has been kept. So one has to be very particular while expressing the ideas and the thoughts. Then we have the listening skills. Ability to listen attentively and actively as a listener. We'll be talking about the difference between, when we talk about the listening skills, we'll be talking about what's the difference between hearing and listening. So, ability to listen attentively. When we talk something, then people should be attentive to listen to it and should be actively listening it. It's not attentively, but they actively listen. And this can only be known by the gesture. Either they can nod their head or they can thumbs up, that they are able to listen to things and they are getting the actual amount of words into their mind. And thirdly, the ability to express, read, interpret, and respond appropriately to non-verbal communication. Now, in case of a non-verbal communication, they should be able to express, read, and interpret, respond appropriately. Suppose at times it happens that instead of speaking, they make a certain amount of gestures or they express their ideas in a form of a sign. So the other person should be able to interpret and respond accordingly. So in case of a non-verbal communication. Anybody wants to add something to it?
Sir, in cricket, umpires are showing like this, no, 6, 4, 6. They will show two fingers out there. They are showing like this, no.
So we'll be coming on that, sir.
Yes,
We'll be
yes,
coming
yes.
on that.
Non-verbal communication, no.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can understand, and we'll be coming on that also. Thanks for the information. Now, how this message goes about it? The sender has send a message, encoding it. Then the message, now the channel, receiver, decoding, and then it goes to the feedback. Now at the 3 point of time, there could be a noise also. That might create a problem, there might create a barrier. That means a message is not very clear. There could be a lot of sounds on the background, there could be background noise also. Channel is not correct. And receiver is unable to understand what you have said. And it happens when you talk on the mobile. There is a call drop or there is an interruption in between the call, or if the channel is not correct, If you are sending a message to somebody who's little far off, and there are a lot of noise of the moving of the cars or the buses, horns, other person might not understand. And in case the decoding and the feedback would be wrong. So this is how you get the sender to the receiver, and then after decoding, it is again sent to the feedback. Now, communication is a series of experiences. Now, it is not just the hearing or this thing. You will smell it. You will see it. You touch it and you taste it. I often say, when you are talking on your mobile, the smile must be seen on the mobile. Because when you see, other person should feel that, okay, you are interested in talking to him or her. So this is communication is a series of experiences. Right. Now, art of communication. Now, elements of speaking and elements of listening. Now, this has been covered up many a times by different learned instructors, by different speakers. Now, in case of visual, because the body language is visual, we can see it, right? That's about 55%. Verbal, what we speak, is about 7%. And the voice which we use it, as a tone or the pitch we use it, is about 38%. Now, a small thing, I'll tell you, it can be said in a different way. You can ask your colleague, could you please get me a water, please? Get some water. This is way. Another way is, jara pani la karke dega. Another way is, I've been telling you so many times, can you get me a glass of water?
आमच्या पुण्यामध्ये असं म्हणतात, ए जरा पाणी दे ना.
Yes, I mean, you were speaking in Marathi. Could you speak it? I can understand Marathi, but I think everybody in our group might not understand Marathi.
एक्चुअली पुणे में लोग ऐसे बोलते हैं कि ए थोड़ा पानी ला के दे दो, मतलब डायरेक्टली ऑर्डर करते हैं, रिक्वेस्ट नहीं करते.
I mean, that's a language, this thing. I mean, somewhere in 1983, first time I went to Mumbai. And we enter in one of small capri of tea. So we just told them, can do chai dena? Are wo udhar do chai maro. So I mean, it looks a little odd to me. मैंने कहा यार ये language क्या है, दो चाय मारो. But it's a local language there.
Local language, yes.
Yeah, it's a language there. And ma'am, you'll be surprised to know it's one of the state we have is Uttar Pradesh. Now, in Uttar Pradesh, the language changes after every 4 kilometers. And they speak 366 dialects are there in Uttar Pradesh. And if the person speaks, you'll be able to know from which village or which place he belongs to. Because the language changes after every 4 kilometers. Same as in Punjab. Commonly, you might see people speaking Punjabi, but there is also there, as per the district, they have a different way of speaking the language. Anybody wants to narrate any story about the language of their place or maybe at their native place?
Language means any story related to language.
Any story
uh,
related to language? Any story related to language, please.
I want to share a communicational story.
Yeah, please.
It's related to pen. One of my friend is asked me for pen
Okay.
for writing purpose, and the distance is far away in the train.
Okay.
So I might what want he. I didn't really not communicate very well.
Okay.
So I give a pen. That means I just took that pen and throw throw to him. So it should be pen for his head, and he really pain.
Okay.
So this is a communication gap. If he told me that writing sign or something like that, then I will pass it out through all the way. But he just asked me to throw it the pen, so I will throw it pen on him.
Oh, yes. Now it happens because of the language, this thing. It happens, it's because of this local language. It happens there. Anybody else want to narrate any of the incident, please?
Should I narrate one?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Okay, so it is a very old story of actually Calcutta. When the Britisher, he came to this place, so he just asked somebody, like there was a man who was sitting there, he was cutting grass, and he asked that man that what place is this? So that man, he could not understand English. He thought that they are just asking that who has cut, when you have cut this grass. So he said Calcutta. So he thought the name is only Calcutta. So that's how the name came of this place.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Could be. Because I was in Calcutta, and at times when initially I went there, and I could ask anybody, कि भाई ये काम करना है. So the first answer used to get is hobeda. That means हो ही नहीं सकता. It cannot be possible. So I used to tell them, okay, let's explore some new ideas, and we will be able to do it. Then they used to come to the new ideas, and then we were able to do something. So thanks for the this thing, information, and thanks for the lovely stories and incidents. We move forward to one of the, which is phonetic sounds. Now, these sounds are very popular in aviation industry. Now, we call it as a phonetic sounds. Why we call it as a phonetic sounds? Because in aviation industry, everything is by the words, and if they speak a wrong word, the message might go something wrong. Just a small example. If I had to tell my name to a foreigner, that my name is Anup, so he might not know what. If I say A for Ambala, no, he won't know what is Ambala. If I say N for Nagpur, so sorry, he won't understand N for Nagpur. So these are some of the phonetic sounds which are widely used all over the world. So if I had to say my name, that okay, Alpha, Nancy, Oscar, Papa. So in this way, he'll be able to know that Alpha is A, then N is Nancy, and or November, and then O is Oscar, Oscar, Papa. So this way, he'll be able to know that my name is Anu. So these are some of the phonetic sounds commonly used in, and even you can use it. You can take a screenshot, and even you can use it while talking over the phone, and you want to sorry, convey the message to your colleague about some name, place, or a thing, and it'll be easier for him to jot it down and note it down. Now we come out the verbal and non-verbals, the versus non-verbal communication. What's the basic key difference between the two? Now, verbal communication is about 35% or so. Now, non-verbal communication is about 65%. Your facial expression is the most important. Your facial expressions give the maximum information about you. Your tone of voice, how you speak, movement, about your complete body movement, about your hand gestures, about your face gestures, how well you touch your face, okay, where you touch, okay, how you touch, okay. Then appearance, how your appearance is. Then your eye contact. Very important is your eye contact. Now, if you see that if somebody wears a sunglasses, it's difficult to have an eye contact with him or her. Gestures, your hand gestures, your body gestures, and your posture, how you are standing, how you are sitting, what are the distance you have maintained between the people, whether known, unknown, formal, informal, these postures. Now, these are very important. The non-verbal communication is very important. Now, we'll be covering by this thing. Now, appearance. Appearance is your clothings. How you must have dressed as per the occasion. Now, if somebody is wearing a t-shirt and a shorts in a marriage, this thing, it doesn't fit into that. Or somebody coming to the office with a funky t-shirt and say torn jeans to the office, doesn't look nice. Hairstyle. I don't have a hairstyle, so I looks like a Yul Brynner. If you remember one of the Hollywood actor, Yul Brynner, till he worked as an actor with Bollywood, he was bald-headed. He never had hair. So the hairstyling plays an important role. Choice of the color. Now I give you a small this thing. Some people purposely use those colors which can attract them. It happened with me, one of the musical singer, Diler Mehndi, was coming out of the aircraft and he was wearing a bright red color of pagdi, yellow coat, green shirt, magenta pant, and some different kind of shoes. Now, when he was coming from the aircraft, everybody was watching him, that what kind of color he's wearing. Now, those people purposely do it with the reason that the people should know them. People should watch them. But if you are going to the office, you're going to any occasion, you're going to the party with your colleagues, Now you should have a choice of color and the choice of clothing also. Then your gestures, your hand movement, how your hand should move. Winking. Now suppose you're winking. Winking is also nodding and winking. If you want to nod, you can nod also, you can wink also, and convey your message through the non-verbal communication. Then we have the facial expression, smile and frown. It is often said that during the smile, you only use about 17 muscles to smile. But if you frown, गुस्सा करते हैं चेहरे पे, you almost use about 43 muscles to frown. So it's better to smile and use less of your muscles. Then you have the postures, cross arms. Some people have got a habit of standing in front of you or sitting in thus. Now this is a closed posture. That means the other person is not interested in your talks. He doesn't want to listen to you. There's a closed posture. And if at all, if you keep on speaking, I've got to smash your face. So this kind of arms crossing. Now legs crossing. Often at times what happens is the ladies, when they sit down, they cross their legs and there's nothing bad in it. But the only thing is their shoe should not point out to the other person who's sitting across. The shoe should point down. And the sitting posture should be comfortable enough and should not offend the other person sitting in front of you. Then your eyes, movement of your eyes, and blinking. Same as winking and blinking. Normal blinking should carry on. Then we have the para-linguistic, the tone of the voice, pitch, and loudness. Some of the trainers, you might have listened to them, that they speak in a very loud voice. अरे आपने देखा नहीं है कि आज की दुनिया में कितने लोग परेशान हो रहे हैं. I mean, they speak it in such a loud voice. I mean, the same thing, they can speak it in a lower voice also. Why they want to shout? Just to make their presence? No. Any questions on this, or you want to add something to it? Is everybody with me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. I don't able to hear anybody's voice, so I thought whether everybody is with me or not. Now, the non-verbal communication speaks louder than the words. If you see these kind of gestures, they speak louder than the words. And finally, if we see the signs, so these are the signs which are normally we use it. But I would request that if you are going abroad, make sure that you don't use the signs which is maybe common in India. Because in certain places, when we make the sign, okay, we call it as pretty. Oh, very good. But in certain countries, it's called zero. Okay. This is a very common sign in aviation industry. Okay to go. Right. And then, if you have to get a phone call, suppose I have to inform somebody there's a phone call for you, I'll just make this sign. Okay, there's a phone call for you. If you want to ask for a coffee, you can just make a sign, I need a coffee. So, if you want to say, okay, enough, pack it up. You can say it's close. So these are the signs which are normally used, and we happen to use it almost everywhere. Now we talk about the listening skills. Now, if you see, we have the 5 L's. Listen, get ears to ready to listen. Your ears should be ready to listen. Look into the eyes of the person who is speaking. Lips, zip your lips, have a quiet mouth. Let the other person speak, and then you start talking. Don't interrupt in between. It's not a good message. Let him complete it, and suppose you are sitting in a meeting, so you can just raise your hand, or you can some kind of gesture to the person, to the speaker. Okay, I want to convey a certain message. Then you can speak on. Place your hand on your lap when you're there in the meeting. Either you can put your hand on the table, or you can put a hand on your lap, and then listen to the speaker. Cross legs or feet on the floor. Keep your body still. And when you're sitting, just keep your body still. Don't keep on touching your ears, or your nose, or your mouth, or your chin every time. So there's a listening song here. Ears are listening, eyes are watching, lips are closed, hands are still, feet are very quiet. You should try it, listening well. Okay. I cannot make a tune out of it, but this is a listening song. Be a good listener. There's nothing bad in it. Be a good listener. Eyes are on the speaker. You should have your eyes on the speaker. Mouth quiet. Hands still. Ears listen carefully. And feet are still. At times it happens that you are trying to say something, and the other person say, are you listening properly? Are you not listening to me? Effective listening helps to resolve the conflict. Now, if you are listening properly, if there's any conflict, you can say, sir, sorry, sir, I missed some of the part. Can you say it again, please? So any kind of conflict can be resolved. The other person will feel heard. Then the other person say, okay, at least he's hearing me. The person on the other hand will listen to you. And lastly, build proper relationship. If you are listening properly, it will build the relationship between you and your internal or external customer. Now, what is the listening skill? Listening skill is not the same as hearing. As we have talked about, what's the difference between hearing and listening? Now, hearing is used as the ears to acknowledge the sound of something. Just to hear the sound, that is hearing. And listening means understanding from the perspective of a speaker. Once is your Diwali के time पे बहुत सारे पटाखे सुनाई देते हैं. So you are just hearing a sound. But when you are in the meeting or talking to your colleagues, you understand from the perspective of the speaker what they want to say. Now, tactful. Remember this. You can take a screenshot also of this. Tactful. Think before you speak. Think 10 times. If you're there in the meeting, talking to your colleagues, think 10 times before you speak. But if at all You have spoken it wrongly. Apologize quickly when you make a blunder. Apologize right there and then. I tell you, will not spoil your relation. It will develop your relation. And when you are there with your colleagues, with your friends, you converse. Don't compete with them. If you try to compete with them, you're not conversing. You're just competing with them. Don't compete with them. Focus on behavior, not on personality. Sorry, another time. Time your comments. Before that, time your comments. Whatever you want to say, time it, because there are other people also there to speak on the subject. So time your comment and then let the other person speak. Focus on behavior, not on the personality. Focus on the behavior of a person, not his personality. Uncover hidden feelings. You have any hidden feelings? Uncover those and listen for the feedback. If you said something, be prepared to listen to it and then you can have the feedback. Now, active listening is to ask open-ended questions. As Sohini ma'am said, that at times the children only speak in yes or no. So they ask only the open-ended questions. So please don't ask for open-ended questions. Please, close-ended questions. Ask the open-ended questions. Request for a clarification. Now, if you don't understand anything, just request the clarification. What basically you wanted to say. And then be attentive. Summarize whatever you have said. Suppose there's a meeting, and then you summarize, you paraphrase the things. Reflect your feelings. When you talk about anything, reflect your feelings. Be untuned to feelings and ask probing questions. That is all about the active listening. This is your whole body listens. Your eyes, your ears, your mouth, your hand, your feet, your body, your brain, your heart. Everybody listens. Now comes the barrier to communication. Now, when we communicate, what are the different barriers we approximately feel? There could be linguistic barrier. Linguistic barrier means there could be a language problem. Because I can understand Marathi, I can understand Gujarati, I can understand Hindi, Punjabi, English. But when I go to downtown south, it's difficult for me to understand. I was posted in Kerala, Calicut and Cochin. It was difficult to communicate because in Calicut, people are not conversant with English or Hindi. So I learned a sentence there, Malayalam Iriyale. That means I do not know Malayalam. So then they used to speak in either broken English or broken Hindi and used to convey their message to me. There could be a physical barrier also. Cultural barrier, interpersonal barrier, and organizational barriers. So in the next slide, we'll be able to touch upon all the things. Now, technical barrier. A person is not from a technical background, but he is sent to a meeting where some technical issues are to be discussed. Now, in that case, what happens is he's not a technical person, so he won't be able to understand what topic is going on. Then, receiver unable to understand. The same way is technical. A person doesn't has any knowledge about the technical subject. So he's unable to receive what they're talking about. At times it happens the attitude towards the sender. I'm not happy with one of the boss. So he wants to convey certain things to me. But because of my attitude, I don't want to listen to it. Whatever he says, wrong channel. The media of talking one-to-one or one-to-many is the wrong channel you're using. No feedback. You keep on speaking and you're not getting a feedback. Poor timings. You're not conveying the message at a proper time, or you have kept a meeting at a very unusual time, or you have sent a message which cannot reach to everybody. So there's a proper timing. The timing gap is there. Use of jargon. Now this is a very unusual thing. Don't use your jargon kind of a thing in any of the, because jargons might be different in different state and in different country. So don't use jargons. It could be locally, you might as well use it, but avoid using it. Unclear message. The message is not clear. And lastly is wrong target and wrong format. That means the target is a wrong and format is also wrong. So overcoming the barrier is create a plan, clarify your ideas, create an environment of assurance and confidence. Consider time when you communicate. I'm trying to overshot the timing, which is trying to overcome the barrier. Support your speech with action. Whatever you want to say, do it with action. Communicate efficiently. Ensure clarity in your message. You should be very clear in your sending the message. Communicate by focusing on the purpose. For what purpose we are communicating. So use these words freely. It doesn't cost anything. It will create a miracle. इन शब्दों का इस्तेमाल कीजिए. ये शब्द बहुत काम आएंगे. And during my stay in New York, it really worked out. I used to just call up somebody and say, I need your help. He said, okay, please go ahead. How can I help you? And they actually used to help. So please use these words. Please, thank you, sorry. We call it as PTS. Language and skills. Language can be learned, but it cannot be taught. And communication skills cannot be taught. It has to be learned. So ladies and gentlemen, the communication skills cannot be taught. It has to be learned through the period of time. And lastly, it's not important what you say. It is more important how you say. That's communication skill. Any questions, please? We have 13 participants in the room and no questions. जब कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं होता है तो अक्सर दो ही बातें होती हैं कि या तो सब कुछ समझ में आ गया.
Sir, you are
सर के ऊपर से गया.
Sir, actually, you are explaining very easy and very effective language. So we are absolutely know the correct meaning of the communication skills.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Anup sir, you have made it very clear in the last sentence only. how to say. So that is what made the difference.
So that is the bang on, because once you close it, you have to close it at a place where you can really bang on it.
So that is what you hit the nail on the head.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Good session overall.
Anup sir, one thing I wanted to ask you.
Please, please.
Yeah, I could not understand the last part which you said that language cannot be taught.
Now, what
yeah.
exactly is, now, I tell you, ma'am, what exactly happens is, I can teach you English. Okay?
Yeah.
But I cannot make you learn English. That you have to do it on your own only.
Yes. So anything as such, right?
Yeah, and the same is, communication skills cannot be taught. You have to learn it. Right? Because these skills takes time to come. It cannot come overnight.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions, please?
See, Sohini, when the small kid learns saying Papa or Amma, he or she doesn't know that Appa Mama is Hindi, English, Spanish, French, nothing. He learns the language in a way that he understands that, oh, he or she is my father or mother, correct? Later on, when the awareness comes, later on, when the understanding comes, he knows Amma means so and so. And Amma could be a small word. But the thing is that it could be in Calcutta, the Amma, it could be in Kannada, it could be in Bengali, it could be in Gujarati, it is Amma.
Yeah, so what's the point?
Yeah, so I mean, the thing is that the child is learning that language. You say, you're not teaching him, but he's learning it, observing it. He's coming to learn something which he can relate to it. She can relate to it.
I think languages can be learned. Like the people can teach language.
Absolutely, you can learn French, you can learn. You are learning it. So the more you learn, you will be abreast about the things which you really are interested in. Being familiar with it.
Akash, sir, I'm through with my session, and anybody wants to speak on, or you want to close it down? Swani ma'am?
Yeah. Thank you, Anup sir, for this wonderful session. We learned so much. Particularly, I learned so much about listening skills. That was very much new to me, and I hope everybody must have learned a lot from this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Anup sir, for this wonderful session. And yes, 1 minute. 1 minute, sir. So thank you once again for this wonderful session. आप जैसे हमेशा जैसे सेशंस रहता है, तो हमेशा की तरह आपका सेशन इस बार भी बहुत अच्छा रहा. You rock it. So once again, thank you, and thank you Rutika ma'am also for this wonderful session, and thank you Suini ma'am for coordinating session, and thank you all participants and our group members for joining here. Yeah. So I'm in another meeting, so just अभी start किया है. So wind up करते हैं, और I request all participants please give your feedback and join tomorrow again on same time. So we have 2 more days, and that's all from my end. Yes, over to you, Swini ma'am. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, is there anybody wants to ask anything? Okay, then we will wind up this session. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.